Whether you agree or have doubts about the presence of this heavenly body, these are observations which certainly provide support for the existence of the Nibiru Nemesis system. I am now going to show and explain a series of screen captures from Skycam observatories which are also indicating the presence of this binary star system. The first screen capture observation is from the Daily Observatory in Vancouver on July 28th. What appears to be the Nibiru system is visible after sunrise as shown in this area. There appears to be about 6 or 7 objects clustered in proximity to each other, with Nemesis located off to the lower left of this system or to the 1 o'clock position to the Sun. The Nibiru star system is believed to consist of 3 planets, Nibiru, Helion, and Arbota. The 2 larger planets in the system, Nibiru and Helion, are said to each have 2 moons, so this would be consistent with what is seen in this capture. This capture from the MarsCam in California is showing a V-shaped formation located at the 1 o'clock position shortly after sunrise. The Nibiru system is said to be in a V-shaped formation similar to a winged globe, with Nibiru being the outermost planet, followed by the remaining planets and moons spread out in a wing formation as it makes its approach. The following screen captures from the Savannah Skies Observatory in Australia probably provide the most comprehensive observation on the incoming system due to its location in the southern hemisphere intervals. But as you can see, not only is Nemesis coming into view, but Nibiru and the binary star complex are visible as indicated here. Nibiru is becoming more visible from these observations, as I will show you here in just a bit. This capture from Australia is really interesting in that there are 2 distinct light sources happening here. The larger light source, which is our Sun, is seen rising from more of a northeast position, while the smaller light source is seen rising from the southwest, which is where the system is believed to be approaching from. This capture from Gorge Creek, Australia, is what I would have to say is indisputable proof that there is a binary star system approaching. This is showing 2 very distinct suns rising from the east, with the binary sun rising first, followed by our sun. In this capture from Madison, Mississippi, there is the presence of a huge halo around the sun shortly after midday. Sun halos are becoming more prevalent now as the system draws closer and begins to emit more light due to the influence of our sun. Rise on July 28th, with our sun located just below it. This capture from New York is a bit confusing in that there are 2 light sources present, one off to the southwest and the other off to the northeast. However, the top time frame is showing 1800 hours, whereas the horizontal frame is showing early morning. However, both are showing two very distinct light sources. As we jump ahead to August 2nd, this capture from East Texas is showing the Nibiru system located at the 1 o'clock position. As you can see, this system of planets is shaped like a comet, with a distinct head and tail. As is always the case, it is very difficult to determine the exact location and velocity of this system relative to the observation because it is moving about so quickly. This capture from Pennsylvania caught my eye as it is showing the same two-sun scenario that was captured by the camera that was mounted to the outside of the Airbus glider back in May in the video that I highlighted at the beginning of this presentation. Again, this is showing another perfectly round object slightly off to the right of our sun, which is only visible due to the sun's rays casting its light upon the object. I went back to check the Savannah Skies observatory camera on August 2nd, and to my surprise, lo and behold, there is the presence of a second sun located to the right of our sun. This is becoming more evident each passing day. The capture from the SHSU Observatory on August the 3rd, much like the Savannah Skies Observatory, is showing the presence of Nibiru. If you look near the center of the frame, you will see the red planet and its accompanying system of planets in unison as they move across our solar system. What is most noticeable about this capture is that Nibiru disappears behind the cloud as it passes over it, which makes this capture even more believable. Here is another capture of two light sources from Australia on August the 3rd. Again, the one source is originating from the northeast and the other from the southeast, or more from a southern direction. Two distinct and separate light sources seen once again. This capture was taken this evening from the Savannah Skies Observatory. Once again, the cameras in the southern hemisphere are providing the best evidence to date of what is approaching. You can clearly see the presence of a second sun in this capture, and if you look off to the left center of frame, you will notice the cluster of planets in a V-shaped formation, which is now appearing on a few of these sky cameras. Finally, I would like to show a sunrise capture from Veracruz, Mexico, which shows two suns moving above the horizon on July 31st. You will first notice the second sun rising, followed by our own sun in succession. This is yet another incredible capture which indicates the presence of a binary star system. I hope this provides you with a better perspective of what is developing here. The system does appear to be moving more rapidly now. The key to remember is as the system rises above the ecliptic, it will begin to make its approach towards us, which means its visibility will become more prevalent to those of us who reside in the northern hemisphere. I will try to keep you updated on this as much as possible and provide more valuable information to you in my upcoming videos. Until then, stay safe and keep looking to the skies.
It is believed that the Sun forms a binary system with a sister star called Nemesis. The Nemesis hypothesis arose in a research article published in 1984 in the journal Nature. Nemesis would be, according to this article, a dark little star, perhaps a brown dwarf, with a more distant orbit than Pluto's. A binary star is a star system consisting of two stars orbiting each other around a common center of mass. Recent studies suggest that a high percentage of stars are part of systems of at least two stars. It is estimated that approximately one-third of the star systems in the Milky Way are binary or multiple, and the remaining two-thirds consist of individual stars. There is a direct correlation between them. Of 2,800 years, Nemesis would be a brown dwarf, not a sufficiently massive star to maintain continuous nuclear hydrogen fusion reactions in its core. Unlike the stars of the main sequence, brown dwarfs occupy the mass range between the heavier gaseous giants and lighter stars. The differences between a brown dwarf and gas giant planets are minimal. Despite its name, brown dwarfs are of different colors. Many brown dwarfs are magenta, orange and also red for the human eye. Brown dwarfs are not very bright, and the low energy emission from these stars blocks direct observation from great distances. Despite this, several hundred brown dwarfs have been identified, with surface temperatures ranging between 800 and 2000 degrees Celsius. Its surface temperature is an increasing function with the mass and decreasing with the age of the object. In 1983, the infrared astronomical satellite IRIS makes a startling discovery. IRIS scientists say they have detected a large object in the deep reaches of the solar system. This article appears in the Washington Post. A large celestial body as large as the giant planet Jupiter and so close to Earth that would be part of this solar system has been found in the direction of the Orion constellation. The discovery was made by an orbiting telescope aboard USA infrared astronomical satellite IRIS. So mysterious is the object that astronomers do not know whether it is a planet, a giant comet or a nearby protostar that never got hot enough to become a star. The most fascinating explanation for this mysterious body is that it is so cold that it casts no light, and has never been seen by optical telescopes despite being a gas giant as large as Jupiter and being so near Earth. So close, in fact, that would be the body called Nibiru. Is there any connection between them? It seems so, and both may be the same celestial body. While the Babylonians referred to Nibiru as the transition point, this would be nothing more than the effect produced by the passage of Nemesis. Since its influence would cause all kind of events on volcanoes, tides, climate and global temperatures seriously affecting the human population. Nibiru would have been mistranslated and actually mean change of era. Nothing would be the same after the pass of Nemesis. We have previously discussed the cyclical changes in the Earth each 2,800 years. The last change was in the year 0 of the Christian era, and now all dates refer to the birth of Jesus Christ. In the year 2800 BC came the Great Flood in Mesopotamia, and new Sumerian and Egyptian dynasties appear. It reoccurs an important change of era, and in 5600 BC the Black Sea flood takes place, and many scholars associate this event with the disappearance of Atlantis. In 8400 BC the Ice Age ends and occurs the beginning of the Neolithic. And so it seems that every 2,800 years supernatural or destructive events take place. Following this line of reasoning, in the year 2800 of our era will come the influence of Nemesis, and everything will change. What will happen in this state? Surely after this nothing will be the same. Zechariah Sitchin was the first to notice that cyclical changes occur in the world, and that some external agent influenced the development of human civilization. He linked these changes with Nibiru and the Anunnaki gods. With every change of era for some reason appear these supernatural beings. Anunnaki seems to mean those who came from heaven. Sitchin, however, assumed that the orbital period of Nemesis was 3,600 years, but I do not think this had scientific support and was more like a guess. I insist that the orbital period of Nemesis or Nibiru would be about 2,800 years and would be a brown dwarf sister of the Sun, which together form a binary system. We can assume that its mass would be similar to that of Jupiter, perhaps a little bigger. Very low temperature and luminosity, and would be returning in its highly elliptical orbit around the Sun in Sagittarius by rotating in opposite direction to that of the planets in the solar system. In 800 years would reach the Sun proximity, passing in front of it, leaving behind a tail like a comet, turning around and returning to the far reaches of the solar system. When doing this, the solar winds would give Nemesis the effect of having horns ahead. This would explain many of the legends and drawings that have survived to this phenomenon. Other theories talk about a different phenomenon that takes place after millions of years. This has no scientific support, for the elliptical orbit would be so large that the gravitational attraction between the two celestial bodies would be lost. This could be celestial bodies that pass near the Sun randomly, or maybe long-term effects of the pass of Nemesis. Also have no support the dissemination of impending cataclysms. The end of the world will not happen tomorrow or next year. I reiterate that the calculations indicate that the next change of era will occur in no less than 8 centuries. Anyway, if confirmed, this theory implies a serious warning for our civilization. Will this be the announced apocalypse? It seems so. That in these cities could live thousands of people for a certain time, had doors that closed from the inside to keep out unwanted visitors, and had ventilation, water and storage space for food and animals. Are this underground bunkers designed to survive for weeks if not months? Are the great somehow they knew that this star would pass through the firmament on that date, as every 2,800 years. Somehow these priests who have left the Persian city of Sial already knew that this important event and that great things were about to happen. It seems that the Star of Bethlehem is the same as Nemesis, and although in his last step near Earth nothing bad seems to have happened, there is no guarantee of what may happen or not in 8 more centuries. It also appears that since ancient times Nemesis has been associated with the origins of religion, and is heard that the Vatican has important information not yet publicly released. Does the Vatican know that the end of the world will happen on a more or less accurate date? It has been said that the revelations of the Virgin in various parts of the world indicate so. Vatican evasions and elliptical responses from previous popes on this subject did nothing but arouse suspicion. The Nazis also knew something about Nemesis, which they called Black Sun. The Black Sun is an ancient symbol of the Germanic peoples, representing the day of the end of the world and the battle of the gods against the giants. At the time of Hitler, it was said that the Third Reich was preparing for the arrival of a messiah to a new world order dominated by the Aryan race. This empire would lasted more than Rome itself, at least 1,000 years. Originally, the Black Sun was part of a series of Nazi occult beliefs, promoted by the leaders of the SS. Of these ideological currents finally emerged a mystical current, almost a religion. Within these beliefs, the Black Sun represented a hidden sun, the giver of wisdom, providing superior force to the Aryan race. Did the Nazis know that Nemesis existed and that its path close to the Earth had supernatural effects? It seems that yes. On the assumption that the orbital period of Nemesis is 2,800 years, and that its mass is 3 times larger than Jupiter, we can apply the laws of celestial mechanics to determine the sum of the major axis of the orbit of the binary system. This value is none other than the maximum distance between the Sun and Nemesis. Of the calculations results that this distance would be only 450 astronomical units. As this binary system orbits around the same centroid, we come to the alarming conclusion that the minimum distance is much lower, passing Nemesis at just 1.5 astronomical units from the Sun. This means that a celestial body 3 times larger than Jupiter will pass in a similar orbit than Mars. This would confirm that in ancient times existed a planet between Mars and Jupiter, called Tiamat, possibly destroyed in a collision with Nemesis. In this sector is currently situated the asteroid belt. In the first part of the 6th chapter of Revelation speaks of a scroll in the right hand of God that is sealed with 7 seals. In that scenario, Jesus opens the first 4 seals out of the 7, freeing these horsemen riding a white, a red, a black and a bay horse. There are different interpretations of what each color means, though I will give my own. The white horse means that polar wave over the entire planet will freeze land and water. The red horse means that volcanoes will spit lava. The black horse means that befall a time of darkness and that sunlight will not be visible, and the bay horse means that there will always be a new dawn for humanity. This is why changes of era occur.